Now, here we have the all-new 2020 Kia Telluride SUV, Motor Trend's SUV of the year. Now, it's interesting that that announcement has just been made while I have it in my possession, because it kind of reinforces what I think about the Telluride, but it kind of leaves, I don't know, a lot of question marks on the table in the conversation. I'll try to touch on a few of those topics or points in the following video. To begin with, the base Telluride EX, which is a 3-row SUV, starts at $44,995. For that kind of money, you get a 10.25-inch screen, wireless charging, LED headlamps, smart cruise control, and a whole bunch of features. So right off the bat, you know that Kia is not toying around with the value proposition for this big SUV. My tester is an SX V6, which is $49,995. This includes blind view monitor, dual sunroofs, Harman Kardon audio, and a bunch of other nice things. There's also an SX Limited, which gives you a rear self-leveling suspension, heads-up display, captain seats in the second row. So what's interesting actually with the Telluride in Canada is that there are 3 trims, no options, only accessories like a roof box and stuff like that. That's it. This is it. This is your Telluride. There are a bunch of colors. This is actually gravity gray, which is, I'm not a gray guy, but I mean, other than the, gray hairs in my beard, but it really suits the truck very, very well. Styling wise, compared to the Palisade, it's fraternal twin, if you will. This thing looks fantastic. I don't know, it's the front end. I love when the LED daytime running lights are on. It's got that Rivian kind of look to them, which I used to not like, but the more I see pictures of the Telluride or see them on the road and pictures of the Rivians, I love that squared rectangle, whatever setup in lights. Anyhow, and I do love the taillights on this thing. It's like a classic old school American luxury car type of, I don't know, I think Lincoln when I see them. Maybe I should lay off the, anyway. All right, so let's do the usual tour. All right, so power hatch, which is kind of cool because there are 2 speeds to the power hatch, which you can set up. Oh, look, the diaper bag's still back here. All right, so with the 3rd row set up in the floor, this is 1,300 liters of trunk space, which essentially means you can fit your life in there. If you do put the 2nd row up, which I won't do, it's about 600 liters worth of trunk space. And what I love about this bin is fantastic. Oops, the cover just fell out. There we go. Access is great. The load height is low. I don't know. This is well thought out. A little extra spot here. And anyway, you get the idea. Lovely trunk. All right. So the 2nd row, obviously, is occupied with my kids' seats. Installing the seats in this was a breeze. Look at the size of the opening of the door. You can see the entire seat. The 2nd row actually slides back and tilts forward and everything. And I did sit in the 3rd row, which obviously you can't see because it's stowed. It's doable for an adult. And speaking of doable, you can easily squeeze in a 3rd adult or another adult or a person, between the 2 kids' seats. Other features I love in this SX. Now, I love these blinds. And here you're starting to get an idea of the attention to detail. And unlike other vehicles, I mean, this is not the highest end plastic. It looks good and it's nice to the touch. I mean, yes, it's a $50,000 truck, but look at the details. I mean, now it's a little bit snow covered. Look at this satin chrome type bar that kind of wraps around the greenhouse. It's beautiful. Same thing down here. The details are fabulous. And it gets better once you get inside. I mean, let's just, well, seats. You can do the seats. Look at the support. Look at the bolstering. Very comfortable seats. They're big too. All right. So here you have your little display screen, which I love this combination. Love log gauges, all the information you could possibly want right there in the screen, including digital speedo. And then you have this 10.25-inch screen, which is fantastic. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, satellite radio. The list is so long that it'll almost give you a headache. Now down here, skipping over stuff, these are your 7 drive modes. So you have 4 drive modes, I should say, and then you have 3 terrain modes. I've not used snow, to be honest. I've kind of just taken the ESP off because I drive like that sometimes. But I love, look at this. This actually doubles as a handle for both the passenger and the driver. It's beautiful. Heated and cooled seats in my SX. Wireless charger right there. USB ports. One day, I'm looking for problems, right? Here you go, your heated steering wheel. I'm looking for problems. I've always thought that Kia and Hyundai have these are far too slick and glossy for buttons. They should be a little bit grainier, a little bit more matte. This is nice though. I do appreciate some redundant buttons. This is one you can actually program. Well, okay, so see, I programmed it to work for Apple CarPlay, and my phone is obviously not connected. Anyhow, the amount of space is amazing in here. Door bins aren't that great, but storage, rear cup holders. This is a great SUV to move in. Do love the steering wheel. So many things to say about this. See, look at that. I mean, it's fake, but it looks really nice. It really looks nice. The grain in it, the texture. I don't know. I'm not struggling to look for problems, but anyway, where I am concerned. Oh, here you go. You can kind of see the frame of the daytime LED running like that. Anyway, let's go for a drive, and I'll try and explain what I'm trying to say. All right, so see, driving a 2020 Kia Telluride is it's almost too good to be true. I mean, I've read sideways a few reviews. Motor Trend gave it SUV of the Year award. A few other outlets have said that it's fantastic, fabulous, the greatest thing ever. And yet, okay, before that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I am totally blown away by what this vehicle does. So let's just go over the usual 3.8 liter V6, well established Kia powertrain, power plant, whatever. 291 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, 262 pound-feet of torque, has a 5,200 RPM, so you gotta kind of roll into it to get max power. But I mean, the standard 8-speed automatic transmission is, as far as I can tell, is flawless. It's really, really smooth. I mean, you know it's changing gears when the tack needle drops. You might feel a little bit of it, but power, generally speaking, is good. Steering is nice. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's not sloppy. It's not big SUV dumb-like. It's on the ball. The brake pedal feels really nice, very responsive. I am maybe a little concerned about the fact that this thing can tow 5,000 pounds, and let's just say you're towing 4,000 pounds, and you got the kids, the gear, the spouse, and you're going through the Adirondacks, you know, mountains that are not too far from my place, and those wee little solid discs in the back are not exactly doing their job. I don't know, maybe I'm stretching it a little bit, maybe not, I don't know. But the most remarkable thing about the Telluride, I think it's the level of refinement. And that's the part I have the hardest time believing, that it's so good. Generally speaking, the ride quality is beautifully dampened. There are no vibrations. The noise level is kept in check even at highway speeds. The rear suspension is a multi-link setup, so it also means that this thing actually handles quite well. And again, like the steering, I mean, there's no slop in the way the car responds to steering inputs and weight transfers. I mean, harsher amplitude changes when you're going over bumps. you kind of feel them, filtering through the controls. But again, generally speaking, this thing it's a gentle giant. Is exactly what it is. And that kind of brings me into, well, the biggest issue that I can find so far with the 2020 Kia Telluride, and that's fuel consumption. All week, I've been driving this thing like an old man. It kind of just, that's the spirit of this big SUV. Fuel consumption is not catastrophic, but it's just not good. I'm averaging over 14 liters per 100 kilometers. Granted, it's cold outside, 0 degrees centigrade. The roads are not snow covered, they're wet. 60% driving the city, give or take. But even so, I mean, this thing is rated at 12.5 in the city and under 10 on the highway. I can't imagine that even in the most chilled, relaxed, ideal driving conditions, you'll ever get this under 11 liters per 100 kilometers, maybe even 12. Real world, I'm specifically speaking. Given the size, the space, the weight, the real estate, whatever, it's not that bad, I guess. So what am I trying to say? I'm not sure yet. Okay, my tester has almost 17,000 kilometers, which in real world mileage means it's about 35,000 of your kilometers. This is almost 17,000 Autocritic kilometers, which can typically mean that they're a little bit harsher as we test the vehicles and perhaps drive them a little bit harder than we would our own cars. I drive all cars hard, except for this thing. I don't know what it is. Anyway, the point is that it's holding up remarkably well. And one of my the greatest hesitation I have towards this thing being as good and classy and refined as it is that I have a lot of friends, a lot of people that I know that have purchased Korean products, not in the last 20 years, in the last 5 years. And they tend to kind of come apart faster than the average vehicle. So that's why I kind of, is this too good to be true? I don't necessarily want to believe it, but I have my doubts. Would I buy this first on my list of 3-row SUVs? No. No, for the reasons I've just elaborated. I'd be more inclined to get a new Toyota Highlander. I'm a big fan of the Dodge Durango, it's just a guilty pleasure. I like the Volkswagen Atlas, Mazda CX-9. None of them are perfect. Absolutely none of them are perfect. But it's that, I tend to think beyond 36 or 48 months. The duration of the lease, if you will. Anyhow, we will know more in the coming years as more and more of these are sold and hit the road and put on mileage. But bottom line, this thing is surprisingly good. Absolutely refined, good looking. The value proposition is bananas. It's a great SUV now. I guess it's the best way I can put it.